aren't the only shapes that we can work with. In fact, we can work with circles in Minecraft as well. So I'm going to come right opposite here, and you're going to notice that a circle in these first two looks exactly the same as a rectangle. So there really isn't much to it. But when we get to the next one here, it changes a little bit. Now the interior space is exactly the same on these two, but we're knocking off those corners to make a little more circular. Now here it gets even more interesting. We start in the middle and we put a block on either side here, and then whoops, we do this. And you'll notice that from the width of it and the depth of it is the same, but the space is going to be a little bit smaller. Now, the advantage here is when we start getting into our white models, these different sizes that we can do actually provide us with interest. Make sure I'm doing, yep, that's right. That's 4, 5. Well, I'm counting it in my head most of the time as I'm trying to talk through this, so sometimes my mind gets ahead of me. But by creating these circles, we can do things like make towers. Or we can just create round buildings. All of which are kind of interesting. So you can see that there's some different shapes, and we can even do some crazy things with these. So, we went 7 wide here, so we know if we, this is on our 7 over here. Let's say we decide that we want to go like this, and we can create a sort of oval building. So we can create a lot of different shapes by combining these circles and rectangles, which is really nice. For that matter, we could just knock off this. We want that there. We could just knock off this back here, and boom. And now we've got a rounded side of the building. So this is the basics for foundations that we're going to use. Is really these shapes up to 11 by 11. And I will go ahead and put in our markers here to help remind us how big these things are. Consider these like measuring tapes, and I'm only doing the measuring tapes in the middle of our samples here because these are squares and circles, so they will always be the same. And guys, if you have questions about anything I'm talking about, please feel free to go ahead and ask them. I'm trying to keep an eye on chat. I might be a little bit slow to respond, but I will do my best to keep up with your questions. All right, so now we've got those markers in place. We've got a basic idea of what a structure can be. So now we're going to talk, I'm going to knock these guys out, and we're going to talk about some basic white models. Now you can use just squares and circles for this. So I'm going to do some examples here, and we'll talk about some basic housing that can be done. So, for those who have been playing Minecraft for a while, you'll probably remember the good old fashioned villager structures, the old villager houses, which really were based off of this right here. And what those were was very simple. It was a 5 by 5 by 5 structure. So you would end up with a base. That wouldn't have been there. And then I'm going to temporarily place these across just because I'm not going to go grab all of the blocks for it, but I want to get the outline done. And you would have something like this. And yes, I know I'm using jungle, which normally I would use oak for it. So, you know, you would have planks and glass and doors and stuff like that for the traditional village, but they didn't have beds back then or anything else. That being said, with a few modifications, you know, for example, let's make the corners some wood logs here. You now actually have something that is halfway decent. You can add a roof to this. You could put a flat ceiling in if you know, a flat roof if you wanted. But the real benefit here is if you actually just come out 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks, just like so, and you if you were to just fill this in, and you could, instead of, you know, going and having a layer under here, you could literally just join up like this, because this is a newer feature of Minecraft that wasn't always the case. You can actually expand this, and you can expand it in any direction just by moving 4 blocks from the original, from any point on it. And you end up creating these builds or you can create these builds that actually look nice and interesting. You can use ladders to get up to different levels. You can actually even create one wide staircases inside. I've done that many times when building houses. But for the simplicity of a house, like I could put a roof here, I could put a roof going, you know, that slopes like this. I could put a roof that is like a pyramid on the very top here, make it look interesting. I could make bedrooms or whatever I want out of this, but I could keep expanding this and make this as large as I want and have different rooms for different things, which makes this actually a really good way for new players to get started in building. This is a technique that Andy is Yoda uses, and it's actually how I kind of started learning how to build, because then you start taking things like your planks and, you know, you can, okay, we've got a doorway, or we've got a window, or, you know, we can come over here and say, hey, we've got a too tall window, and we can add glass blocks or glass panes. You know, but that's something that we'll talk about when we start talking about palette. And palette is really just picking blocks and colors that are going to work together and complement each other in the build that we're doing. So knowing that this is a basic structure foundation that we can work from, we want to look at what are some of the components that we have. And most notably, we have our cobblestone here, which is our foundation. So the very first thing I did is lay out what the foundation was. If we lay out our foundation first, then we have an idea of where we can put walls, ceilings, that we can come into later, roofing, and there's many ways that we can do roofing, but that may be for another tutorial, where I'll bring up like an image of all of the different roof types and then how we create them in Minecraft. But for our purposes, we're gonna go with this one right here. This is the 7x7, and we're gonna start with a basic thing. So this is going to be our basic foundation. Now there's two ways to go about this with our foundation. We could either, like poke a hole in it and have this as our ground floor, or I'm actually going to grab another color of concrete here. We're going to use green for our floors. Or we can put our floor here. Now, if we put our floor here, that means we need to have a step that comes up. So this would be another piece of our foundation. Now, this could be a stair, this could be a slab. We could make it like this so that we have 3 stairs that connect in. There's a number of different things. The advantage of this is now it creates a little bit of height to our build. But we're going to just, for right now, we're going to just build this out as a basic structure. And so this is our first floor with the foundation. Now, floors, some people will build like this, and they'll put their ceiling right here. Now, if you're using a slab, and you can place the slabs on the top edge of a block like this, that's not so bad because you have a little bit of headroom. However, if you're going to use full blocks, I would always go up another level. So the total height is 4, but 3 of it is your wall, and the 4th level is your next floor. Now, for white modeling purposes, we know if we're going to have stairs there that's going to be our entrance. So we're going to come in and we're going to just literally place walls all the way around. Now we can talk about decorations like, we could put a fireplace in here and those kinds of things, but that's not important in our initial white model. All our initial white model is here to do is to help us figure out what our shape is going to be. Now, there's 2 places that we could go from here. We could literally go and start putting a roof on, like so, or we could go up another level and then put a roof on, things like that. With roofs, there's a lot of different ways that you can go. The most standard is just the stepped roof. But if you're going to do a standard stepped roof, what you should do always, and I've noticed this on some builds, is, they'll have this flat, and there's just no interest in the build at all. You're going to fill all of this in with blocks, we know that. But now it just looks like stairs and a flat face. So you should always come out at least 1 block, sometimes 2, depending on the shape of your roof, things like that. Just come out that extra block, and it'll add a lot of extra detail for you. The other thing is, because this is the 4th level here, which I'm going to go ahead and mark out, is you have a little bit of extra room up here. So you might want a ladder to climb up in here and have like some storage in the roof or something. That nice little attic. And of course, you can continue this roof, you know, right across just like this. Have that overhang that goes all the way around. And you'll notice because we have a central block here on the top of the roof, we can actually do some fun things with that. Um, but that's all going to get into the decoration of it. Right now, so this is our very, very basic little house white model that we are creating. And I'm going to fill in all of this, and you'll be able to, I'll even grab some ladders just so we have a way up in the corner over here. But we're gonna finish off this roof here, and then we're going to work on our next part, which is we're gonna. So that actual hole doesn't work very well, does it? So we're gonna move that over by 2 blocks because we won't be able to get in here. This is a very simple roof. I'm using these colors because, you know, roofs, when we think of them, are usually made out of shingles or tiles. But if we want to create interest, which will be part of our block palette, there'll be some really cool things that we can do because these are full blocks. So this is our basic little house. I'm going to grab some ladders, and we're going to, you know, just come in here and pop some ladders in, and we now have a, you know, this little nice little storage area that we can work with. Just, you know, something a little extra that most people might ignore. You know, we could knock out windows here, so that we can get some extra light in and be able to see out, stuff like that. Or if we really wanted to get fancy, we could put a couple of windows back here, have even more light, and maybe use these walls for more decoration. But that's something we'll get into when we actually start decorating the house. So what we're going to do now is we've got that 7x7, which is this one right here, but we want to create some more interest to our house. So it might be a good idea if we take on something like this 5x5 circle. So I'm going to build this right next to here. And you know what? I don't really... So here's the other thing, is we can actually take this and make it, you know, this tower maybe was built later on and it's taller, so it needs a stronger foundation. So we're going to bring it up some. We're going to have our floor here, but we're going to bring the floor out a little bit. So this is going to be where our floor is, but you know, we're going to do something a little different. Is we're going to have a central tower here, and we'll use slabs. You know, we can do this a number of different ways. Whoops. We're going to use our slabs to make a one wide staircase that will come up to our floor level. And we can actually continue this all the way around. You know, will that block work? No. So, you know, we can use that to create these different levels, or we could literally block these up and make interior walls that look different. But now we need to go up 3 more. So you could see, we're already getting a little bit taller here, and maybe with the next level here, whoops, what we do is we bring that level in. Well, this is actually where it would be. This is where the floor level would be. But instead of having a floor, we bring it up another level. So we could change materials here. Um, why is this 4 high? Because this is the floor level. So we're always going to be in going up. We're always going to have 3 spaces and then 1 for floor level and then 3 spaces. And 1 more wall here. Oh, there we go. So, we could have a tower that, it can come out, balloon out a little bit. We can use decorations to make this, of course, look better. We can come in here and start putting a roof on this. Maybe come in, okay, here. We'll bring this up 1 here, like this. And maybe what we do is we put 1 here in the middle of each of these so that we kind of keep a shape going here. And then bring this up. We're just kind of getting a rough idea. Really, it's a rough idea of what is this going to look like. Yes, that tower does kind of look funky, but there's a lot of things that we could do with that. Now, here's the important part. We know we're using these colors to distinguish parts, and we can do a lot of things to change parts. So the very first thing is the shape and the foundation. And the reason that I built these towers, and I'm actually, because this tower is so small, I'm actually going to bring this in. Yeah, I'm going to actually just make this a straight tower. I'm going to mark this because this is our floor level here. And this is going to serve us in just a moment, because the advantage is once you know the shapes that you're going to use, and you have an idea of how to make these shapes happen, then it's a matter of putting them together. And that's what we're going to do in just a moment. So we're going to actually start putting, these shapes together. So now we've got our little tower. There's not much decoration to it, but there are things that we can do to decorate it later on. And we've got our little house here. Now we could use this as, say, a grain silo on a farm, and this be our little farmhouse that we're using. But if we do something a little crazy here, and we have done a 7x9, so we're going to start here. 7, 1. So we're gonna do our little foundation house right here that we've already done. It's going to be laid out exactly the same way as that is. And I actually went too far. It should have been a 7x7. So we got our little 7x7 here. Yeah? No? Did I do this wrong again? Yeah, I miscounted. All right. I'll fix that. There we go. So we got our little house that we've got over here. This is just the foundation for it. But we want to add some interest and we want to have a staircase that goes up. Gamer, thank you very much for your lurk. Check out the VOD later on. There's some good information, I think, here. But now we want to add our staircase in. Now we can do this in a number of ways. One is we could knock this out and just put it on the side here. If these 3 blocks are here and I knock these blocks out, you can actually see there's the circle shape right there. So that's one way of doing it. Another way of doing this would be to, we knock out this corner. And we create some kind of entrance like this. I could do that, and now we've got an entrance, and it ends up being on the corner. So you could actually combine these shapes and make it look more interesting. And the more shapes that you have, the more styles of houses that you have, and towers that you have, and things like that, the easier it's going to be in the long run to figure out where you're going to place everything. In this case, now my tower is a little bit taller, so my tower foundation is a little bit taller. So maybe what I do is I raise this foundation up. So, it's a different kind of intersection here. I could even do this for that matter. And then maybe I've got, instead of this, I've got some kind of foundation variant that goes in here. And then I start using logs to go up from here. But then what do we do down here? Because here is a floor. And if we use our 3 block rule, that means this is, this down here is a floor. But then the next floor is going to be here. So we could do one of 2 things. We could start with our slab going, right here, which means that we now have an easy way into the staircase. But it's going to create, then we got to start thinking. Like, for me, what I would do is I would do a slab there and here. And then I would go up one here and down here. So now we can have a staircase that goes down, just like this, with a staircase that goes up like this. And now we've got even more depth to the build. You can hide things in there, things like that. And a nice thing is as you get bigger with the circles, is the nicer you can make the staircases look. It can become a little bit more challenging because you have to really work with the slabs and make the progression gradual. I personally would not use stairs for these kinds of these circular staircases, because they can get really complicated with stairs. But now you could see, if I start building this up, and then, I'm going to need to finish that off at some point. And since this is a thing, we could do some kind of decoration in here to make that look better. But you can see that already the house looks so much better. You know, we've got the house that looks okay. It looks pretty standard. You know, you can go into it. You could put a ladder down and a ladder up. You got a little storage in the roof. Okay. But now you can have something that looks even better. And I think this is kind of the thing that once you start experimenting with shapes that you like and things like that, you can actually come up with some pretty incredible builds. Now this, this is very, very stereotypical Minecraft stuff, but you could apply this to just based off of your palette. You can make it look futuristic. You can make it look modern. You could make it look Victorian, Gothic. You could actually even use something like this for desert builds. You know, go sci-fi, fantasy, desert, or something like that, and really make some interesting things happen with these kinds of setups. And it all kind of expands from this idea right here that you have a basic 5x5 foundation that you can expand out just by adding some blocks. And probably now is a good time to look at some foundational ideas. So, you know, in a lot of medieval builds, you typically go for some gray colored blocks. And I'm going to just pull some random ones out here. We've got some gray wool. We've got, things like mossy cobblestone. I don't need the infested stone, but, there's stone bricks. There's all kinds of variants of stone bricks, but just with this selection alone, and I'm going to place them out right here so you guys can see. And I'm placing this in two directions because I wanted to show the way that the variation can change based off of what you do. So this is what I would, I would probably go with stone bricks. Maybe add some mossy stone bricks in here. Some light gray concrete powder and some light gray concrete would be good. Another one is going to be, I don't really like the light gray terracotta so much. But if we're doing decorative borders, we could use, for example, shulker boxes. So, we've got concrete powder. And if I place this like so, and then let's, just so you can see different textures that are available. Heck, even, placing it like this, there's so many variations of how you could do this. Place it like that. Maybe that's it could be a nice decoration block, maybe for corners where you need to add some detail. Some of these materials are easy to get. Some of them are not so easy to get. For example, shulker boxes. Concrete kind of is easy to get. Stone, cobblestone, stone bricks, easy to get. Cracked stone bricks, easy to get. The mossy variants, if you can get a hold of vines, easy to get. Wool is easy to get. Acacia, depending on if you found acacia trees or not, could or could not be easy to get. What I don't recommend you do is, if you're going to use this as a variant for, a foundation, I don't recommend this. But this could be used elsewhere. We'll talk about that in another palette. But for the moment, before we jump into actually creating a foundation, give me just a couple of minutes, folks. I've been streaming for about an hour and I need to take a short break. So I'll see you in a few minutes. All right, I'm back. So, talking about some of you may, if you are avid Minecraft watchers, may have seen a similar video to this by BOO where he talks about the same thing. But one of the things he's a more experienced builder, so he goes into depth a lot more about detailing, and a lot of it is building the structure and then standing back and going, what would make this look better? So what I see a lot of times is people will go in and they will build a foundation, and it is strictly this. It's just straight cobblestone. And they'll do that all the way around, and that's their foundation or their wall or whatever it is. And while this does work as a foundation, I think that it looks a little too plain is probably the best thing. Taking something like stone, and let's say, this was really a good stone wall, but as time went on, it's starting to crumble a little bit. And we start throwing in some variants like so, and maybe originally this was made out of stone brick, or maybe even better, this was plastered, and the plaster has started to break down. So we can see it in various states here. And maybe, we do something like that, and we take the andesite over here. We see various states of decay all the way to cobblestone. Even better, there's also some gravel here. We could throw some gravel in, and now we see different stages of it breaking down. Now, you can randomize this however you want. Depending on the size of your foundation wall, I would probably limit the colors to like 3 or 4, maybe even 5. So maybe we don't have cobblestone on this, but we've got some stone, we got some gravel, we got some concrete powder, and some andesite. We'll throw this in here, and some more concrete powder in there, just to make it look. Yeah, that's the thing, is if you are going to do something like this, you want to try and limit the palette, but understand what the palette is. If I'm doing a massive wall and I do it right, having a large palette like this and doing it in a certain way can make it look good. For example, if I'm using stone, andesite, gravel, and the concrete powder or concrete um, at the base of the foundation, and then maybe slowly fade it up into the stone brick variants, you can actually create something that looks very interesting. The other thing about this is the further you get away, the better it looks. For example, if I do this right here, and I'm just going to do the standard cobblestone wall right here, and you come back, which one looks better? One of them looks kind of natural and variated. Yeah, 3 blocks can also be a good one. Stair blocks can also help. But if you're looking at this, I like the look of this much better than I like the look of this. So yeah, we've covered some basic shapes, all odd blocks. So 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, and 11. Circle shapes at the same sizes, so 1 through 11, and the old Minecraft building structure of a 5x5x5 space that, wow, that got really loud. I'm going to turn that down. And actually, I think I need to turn that down in game here. That music just got way too loud. All right. So, by taking the basic structure and adding to it, you can actually create some interesting builds, which I've done on Clan Crafters. But then we've taken our house here, and we've just done a basic white model of it. What is it going to look like in general? What is the general structure of it? And we've done that and a tower and then combined them so that we can create something that looks good. Now, we could continue going on with decorations. For example, if we were going with a medieval house and we wanted to, make it look good, we could grab some oak logs, some stripped oak logs, some stairs, some planks. Where's my planks? There's my planks. We could start doing some things with this to help with the structure as well. So, you can do your foundations. If you're on a 1, I would probably only do like 3 blocks. Nikki, welcome back. That's okay. We're glad to have you here. If you've missed the beginning of the video of the stream here, I do recommend going back and watching it because we cover a lot with shapes, the basic cube structure that you can add to. We talked about how to white model just a basic structure that you want to start with. And we did 2 different structure types. So we did a tower here. The roof isn't necessarily the best. It could be better, but maybe that's something we work on when we actually build the structure, or we build samples of it so we can figure out what we would like. But just to get basic understanding of what we've got, and then combining those structures, kind of like we do with the cube model. I really hope so, Nikki. But combining that. And then we were talking about block palette, colors that can be used, and the difference that it can make. Now, when I look at these builds, I generally come back because up close you can tell it's a lot of different blocks. But if you come back, this looks better than this does here. And you can see the difference between the two. Now, yes, I could, as Fleur mentioned, using stair variants or even walls um, can make a difference because we've got all kinds of walls here. So there's cobblestone, andesite, mossy cobblestone, stone brick, mossy stone brick that we could use. We could go a darker way with like black stone as well, or diorite, granite, brick. There's just a lot of variants there. There's also a lot of stairs that could be used. Um, so, for example, let's see, let's get some andesite stairs out. If I wanted to create something, and I'm going to actually knock that out. If I want to create a little more interest, I could add something like that there, and it makes it look a little more broken. So there are opportunities for making things happen, but I'm going to talk more on that another time. The purpose of this is to have an idea of palette and how you can mix colors that are very similar. Um, for example, if we go with, oops, with our oak, we've got our oak logs. Here's our planks, stairs. That's not the slab I want. That slab. We've got, yep, fences and fence gates. We've got pressure plates. We've got trap doors, and we'll start with this right here. So there is something that I tend to, well, that I tend to do right off the bat when I get something and I'm going to start working on my palette. And that is, I generally like to start building something like this because I'm having trouble typing today. Because we also have, where is it, oak wood and stripped oak wood. We've got doors, signs, and yeah, that'll be good. So, you can see now some of the different blocks that we have available. I can put the door here. I can put the trap door like, on here. Actually, I usually like to do it like this so that I can see that. And then, we've got oak leaves. Um, so I'll put like some oak leaves up here so we can see that. Throw the sign on there. With our oak buttons, which I forgot to grab earlier. I put that usually like here. I'll put the pressure plate down, and now we've got all the blocks that go with oak. And we can mix and match these. You got 8 now different types of wood, 6 in the overworld that you can use to build just about anything. And they've added so many more blocks for us to work with that it's great. In fact, I could even go with a flower pot here and an oak sapling, and we just drop that down, and we've got even more decoration. Um, but we can start, you know, laying some things out. So that's 3. We'll go like right across here, and we'll add in, some support there maybe. Maybe we've got some support here, like this. Maybe we use a combination here. Uh, let's actually grab this. We use a variation of the stripped wood and some planks. to create a nice looking wall. Maybe that's a little too boring, and we need to make it look like some of this has aged a little bit more. And maybe we need to make it look like it's starting to uh, break down. It's looking rutted. And maybe even some of the spruce stuff is looking rutted as well. We can do all kinds of things to make this start looking like it's worn down. Maybe this top part isn't all this stripped. Maybe it's breaking down over time, and with our axe we can come in here and go, you know what, maybe it's not just that top part. Maybe it's these sides are kind of breaking down too. Hello, Scaper. Welcome back to the stream. Yeah, I apologize. I've been talking for almost an hour and a half, and most of this is, we're trying to talk about ways that you can decorate, but really this is all based off of a simple white model. So I was talking with Nikki earlier, and white models and some other folks that were in the stream as well. White models are really a way to get a general idea of a structure. So really just a she can be. She can be. Um, White models are a way to get a general idea of a structure. And, that goes from the foundation, and I'll go around the back here so you can see it a little bit better. But we've got a foundation, the walls, and the roof. And you can see the same pattern here: foundation, walls, roof. And if you can learn to make these simple shapes, you can actually turn them into something more interesting. Like, for example, here, if I start taking my roof, which, is going to go, I know how the roof is going to go. That should be there. And then, it's going to come down here. Like that. I can extend the roof, which makes it not look so flat, like this. And I know this roof is going to, we're going to just say this roof is going to go here. It probably won't, but, I'm just saying it could go right here. You could start seeing that you could have some very interesting things going on. And I'm doing this this roof right next to the other one. Now I could variate the colors on these. I'm gonna bring this out like so that it doesn't look. So, you've got two roofs that now collide and actually add even more interest. Or I could have taken this tower up another level or two and made that tower stand up. Nikki here is so funny. So this is just a simple example. So let's see. Scaper, go ahead and pick a number between 5 and 11 that's odd. 7. Okay. So we're gonna build. I'm gonna grab my my blocks here, and actually, let's do that. Let's um, let's make a hot bar here. We're gonna go gray, white, green is our floors, brown is our ceilings, and we're going to. What in the world is going on? I'll have to figure out saving hot bars again later. Nikki, same thing. Between 5 and 11. Must be an odd number. I said an odd number. So remember, in building in Minecraft, we always want to try and work with odd numbers. So 9, okay. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we've got our basic shape. Yeah, there is that. So anybody else in the chat, we need to know how high our foundation is going to be. So 1 or 3. Nikki, come on. All right, so 3. We'll go 3. We're building this up to 3. Now this is one that you guys are doing. So we're going to do a couple more tricks here with white modeling that can even make your uh, builds look better. All right, so yeah, 1 or 3 picks 2. That sounds like Nikki. All right. All right, Scaper. Um, let's see here. I want you to pick a number between 3 and 7 that's odd. So 3, 5, or 7. 5. All right, so we're going to do 5. Um, hey, does this look familiar? Wait a minute. I think this is the tower we've already done here. That's the 5. So this is the 3 tower. This would be the 3 circle. This is the 5 circle, and this is the 7 circle. So I'm going to overrule you. We're going to go for a 7 circle. I'm going to do this for a reason here. There is actually a reason for it, and it might be very interesting to you. So we're going to add another concrete color. And this concrete color is going to be light blue. Now, being as we have set this foundation, I'm going to keep this at 1. Of course you are, Nikki. So now we're going to do something a little bit on the medieval side. So Scaper, there's 2 different things that are going on here. So this is white model. So we're using concrete to make a model of what we're going to build and use our palette for later on. So andesite would be in the palette, not in the model section of it. So we're going to do something a little bit on the medieval side here. And we're going to bring our front and back out an extra block. if we weren't bringing the back out, let's say we were backed up against a wall here, we'd actually want to bring the front out an extra block for the overhang. I didn't say Sith. I said, yeah, medieval. So there's two ways to do this next part. Is we either have this backed up against a wall, or maybe it's even backed up against another building, and they're sharing the this, and maybe this is a maybe this is a little shop back here or something. But we could get to that later. For now, we're going to extend it out like this. So our house is going to, have a floor right here. So the fourth, so every, you got three. Our floor is here on this. So this grass area is actually the floor. So you can actually just, you could have a way to walk in here. You could have stairs that go up. For example, let's say right here, you have a staircase that brings you up to the floor here. There's all kinds of different things that you can do. You could put a staircase in here. But that's not really the point of what we're going to get to right now. So this is our floor. We bring this up some more. This is our next set of walls. But because we've chosen this size, if we are okay with, we're going to do this, and we're going to put a window in this. Now we know the next floor is going to be up here, so I'm going to go ahead and block that off just for the sake of showing off this tutorial here. Let's say we put a window in right here. Well, if we use up some of this space, yes, it will make our house a little bit smaller. But these become internal walls. And if we've got internal walls, like so, we can go and grab, let's take some spruce trapdoors and some brown glass panes here. Now, we can put our brown glass panes right here. And then we can come in and install some shutters. We could install a different type of shutter, like so, that we could either have open or closed. So we now add some extra depth. Hey, welcome back, Count. But this also gives us the advantage of we can decorate the inside differently than we decorate the outside. We just have to be a little careful of where we start placing windows and doors and things like that, because what may look good on the outside, like here, let's say we put our door here. What may look good on the outside may not necessarily look good on the inside. So we do want to watch out for things like that, connected textures stuff, which is what is happening right here. Could get hey guys, this is a Minecraft stream, not a SWOTOR stream, all right? That's it, you're all fired. Nikki's no longer the owner, Count's no longer the mod, and Scapper, well, you're just fired in general. Screw that. This is not a Christian Minecraft server. And actually, we do, on the Clan Crafters, we try and keep things PG. as far as the builds and in-game chat and things. Nikki, yes, I can ban you. Well, our server tick is fire tick is off, so you can't really burn anything down, Pyro or Scaper. You guys are funny. Yeah. So that's a white block there. That's a white block there. So yeah, we can do a lot of different things here. And the bigger you make your space, let's say this was 11 by 9. Because you see, if I put my blue blocks in to kind of highlight out, it does make the space smaller. But again, you can decorate inside and out. Now, if this was, the width of the house and we did an 11, it gives a lot more space inside. Yes, you're moving to California, so you can get fired, Scapper. Ba-dum-bum. Uh, so it does make a smaller space, but it allows you to create more texture inside and even make it look different. So that is a cool feature that you can do with white modeling is you can figure out, do I have enough space to do what I want to do? Now you could stop here with 2 levels, or you could take this house up even further. But we're going to do something here. So the question really comes into, this house I could put a stairway in, but that stairway is now going to have to come in like right here, and it's not going to, or I have to do a single stairway that's going to take up 9 blocks, and that's really just not going to look good. But if I do a tower here, which I can also, by the way, this is why I chose this. If I do a little tower, I could attach it to the side, the front corner, the back. I could attach it really anywhere and have a staircase that goes up and stops off at each level. That would be you, Nikki, not Scapper. So, we're getting this basic idea here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of the things we've already done. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we've got our 7 by 7 here, which is this little house that we've done already over here. I'm going to add this. Now we know this is 7 wide and 9 deep. So if I actually were to go, let's go here. So we are getting our general outline of our foundation. We've got our little tower over here, but I'm not going to add that at this level. So this is going to be 3 high. So I'm gonna go ahead and lay this all out so we can start seeing what our foundation looks like. And then, on the back corner here, I'm going to knock this out and knock this out. So our block would go here. This is going to be a tower that goes from the floor level. And what I'm actually going to do is, because the floor level, let's see, we got floor level here. I'll fill this up. We've got floor level here. So I'm gonna... You're actually paying attention to me? That would be a first. Nobody pays attention to me, especially not Nikki. She just ignores me. So this might be, let's say this is the entrance to our house. This is a barn. There'll be a second level here. And then we've got maybe this is the tower, the floor of the tower, where we go up to get to the next level. And actually, I don't really like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this this whole thing out because I got a better idea. Oh. I'm going to do that. We're going to fix our floor here. I'm going to fix this wall. Yes, I just said flicks. I don't know why I said flicks. Maybe because Nikki is flicking me off. Yes, I am saying floor noises. That's it. So I got this idea here that maybe, let's see, if that's there, that wouldn't be there. How am I going to do this? Yeah, let's do it here. So we're going to do this. So these are going to be on the same level, but I don't really like that. I want to bring this up just another block. Yes, it's 2 blocks up. But it's only 1 block up from here, just like this is 1 block down. So this is going to be an advantage for us. And we'll bring this foundation up here. So let's do it here. So we have this entrance way into this. Now this is going to be decorated inside. So now we've got 3 different levels. This one, so this actually isn't foundation. This one's floor is going to be here. There's going to be floor, this would be floor here. And then this one's floor is actually going to be at this level as well, right? That doesn't seem right. No, this floor should be here. No. What did I do wrong here? Oh, yeah. This floor needs to go up by 1. So this floor would actually be here. So now what we're going to do is we're going to actually take our white blocks here. Because this is our next level. And that's going to come up to there. But we're going to come out 1 block on each end, just to try and keep this as simple as possible. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. But here's the benefit, Scapper, is because we're working with a white model and we're doing this in creative, when I go on the server, I'm going to have a pretty good idea of what I'm going to build. So, like right now, I'm actually going to take this block out. Yeah, that's better. So I can do all of these things and figure out how I'm going to build my nice little house that I'm doing. So this is also going to go up 3. Yeah. So now you can start seeing this house taking shape. And then we're going to actually put some roofing on it. Um, so we're going to use this tower to get from level to level. So there's a floor here. And then, yep. Now, because I've cut off so much of this, I could put my roof so that it goes like this. But I'm not going to do that, and I'll show you guys why in a minute. Let's fill in some floor here, because that's going to go like that. And we'll actually do a walkthrough on this house. Yeah, put some floor here. Floor, not fleur. It is possible, Count, as long as you. In fact, I've seen people make floors. Whoops, I made a mistake here. I don't want this to hang over here. I just want it to hang over on the ends. Because maybe over here we do something a little different, but you know, it's not bad to have a flat wall if you intend to use it for something else. Like maybe you put a stables over here and you come over and you put a little roof that goes over and you have your little stables, maybe a storage area. Um, you know, if you intend to decorate the area, it's not bad to have a flat wall. But if it's a facing wall, something that, you know, people might walk up to the house this way and they want to see something interesting, not just a flat wall. So that's why we kind of do this, is we want to figure out shape. Where can we put things? Um, Maybe we have one idea and it changes the build some. But white modeling helps you figure out what are some of the difficulties you're going to face. You know, I've got this structure here now. So I know that there's going to be a floor here, not floor, floor, a level. Yes, Nikki, this is a competition for your not a store store. So we're going to put one more set of walls up here. In fact, we're going to do something a little bit different when we get further up here. Because you know what? If we're getting up to this point, maybe we don't, maybe we, you know, we have our stairs that go around the one wide stairs, but we get up to this point and we want to have like some windows or, you know, maybe these are oak logs and these are all done with like fences around. Um, but we have maybe an entrance into into the attic of this place over here or something like that. Maybe here we have, you know, some stairs down so that we can get into this little room here. Like there's so many things that we can work out after we get the structure done. But here's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead because this roof is going to be the more difficult one to build. We're going to start with this roof right here. and then we're going to work our way down. So we're going to do the hard roof, and then we're going to do the easy roof. So we do these roofs, by the way, there's a lot of ways to do them. So what we're going to do is we're going to come up here, yeah, like this. Now these roofs will be more difficult to build in game, by the way. But I don't like the fact that that's just one. So I want that to go up there, this here, there, there. So yeah, that's good. And then we come up here. We're just doing this basic roof right now. There are ways to make this look more interesting, but I think roofing is it's an important part. But and actually, Nikki, that is something I would love to do. Um, but we have to discuss as a group um, how we're going to handle that kind of setup. So now we've got a little bit of an issue here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is actually the middle block. I want to take the roof this way, I think. So I want to see where this intersects. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's the middle block. So we're going to take this out. We're just putting in the shape right now. And this is where we start working out, you know, like some detail things. We know that this is going to extend out by 1. So here's the nice thing is to keep this roof nice and even. We can put our block here, and it looks like the roof is intended to be shaped that way. Plus, since we're going to hide some things in here, you know, we can actually bring this back. Now we know this roof is going to start here, but because of this roof joining it, we actually can stop it right there and keep this space. So, you know, we can bring this over like so, and bring this over like so. And now we're starting to get a nice roof shape. Now we want to fill this in. And these white blocks, brown blocks, they could literally be anything in the game you want to use. Well, Nikki, all we did was start with some shapes. You know, we started with a square and the rectangle that you guys selected, and then the circle that I overrided Scapper on. And then we're just building triangles for roofs for the most part. That's a round triangle, so it's a little more difficult. But we ran into a problem here. So what did I do wrong? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, how did I do that? So I screwed up one of the walls here. So what we're going to do is to save this. Let's see, this should have been one more block wide, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, it should have been one block narrower. That's what it was. Okay. That's an easy fix. We just move the wall over by 1. See, this is why white modeling in creative is great, is it's easier to fix something before you start building than it is to try and do it when you're in survival mode and trying to figure out something that you're then using your pickaxes and your axes and all your tools, and you may be having to fight off mobs and sleep constantly. This allows you to sort out issues like, oh yeah, if I build that one block too wide, I actually have to go back and fix it. Um, it. This gives you the ability to figure out what those issues are beforehand. So we want that, knock those out, knock that out. These are all coming out one block. Now these white models might seem boring. You know, they don't look very interesting, but that's the beauty of them too, is they don't have to look interesting. They need to the function that they serve is to troubleshoot, to look for ways to create interest and to troubleshoot problems. Um, so if you run into an issue like I just did, you go, oh, okay, well that's definitely not going to work. So I need to fix that. Um, all right, so now we're going to extend our roof here. Now, this is kind of a little bit of a thing. Um, but this is what's, again, great about this is we've got our roofs intersecting, but they don't exactly line up. So you can pick which roof is going to be the one that supersedes and make it look interesting. So, you could say, you know what, I don't like that block there, so I'm not gonna. Or you can do something different with it, but you can decide later on. Hey Nikki, yeah, just send it to me in DMs so that I can look at it later, unless it has something to do with this stream. If it has something to do with this stream, I'll definitely, look at it right now. All right, so we're going to finish up this roof. Now, I'm only using basically 4 or 5 colors for this. You could, in your white models, potentially use a lot more colors. Yeah, I mean, if you wanna send me something right now that might apply to this, I'll definitely take a look at it. No, Scapper. So on the Clancrafter server, each of us builds our own things, and what I'm trying to do with this stream is literally help people understand that they can build their own things and maybe get some ideas on how to do it, because um, we all really should improve. Now this is a step that uh, not everybody takes. I'm pulling on experience that I have from working in the entertainment industry. Um, so I try and use that. I mean, if you guys can reach an agreement on how much that's going to cost and whatnot, by all means, go for it. But don't come crying to me if it doesn't look like you want it to look. I think I'm just going to do that right there and maybe replace that block there. Whoops. Yeah, that looks a little bit better. Yeah, but you can see, compared to just the blocky structure we started with over here that is all the same, and don't get me wrong, it can look interesting. Um, yes. So that is something that we're actually going to do right after this, Nikki. Is we're going to talk about building into terrain. And we're actually going to do it on the Clancrafter seed. Um, how we can take what we've learned here and turn it into something on the seed. Well, Count, that is a way to do it, but really, there are better ways to do it. So we've come from here looking at some basic sizes, built a simple house and a simple tower in white model. We've looked at the palettes a little bit of things that can be done. Um, Ultimately, you have to decide what looks best. Um, we've learned how to combine shapes to create more interest, and we've even gone to the point of you can how to overlap and do some interior walls as well, which we can do both on circles and on rectangles. And we've created another shape combining multiples. Now I said I was going to include this as well. So one of the things that is really cool about towers is they can stick off of the side of a building. So let's find out, where is our floor? It's right there. So we're going to put a tower on here that's going to be up a block, I think. Um, and we're going to try and make this work. That didn't line up quite right, did it? But I think this will work. Um, so what we can do now, and we'll have to, you have to work out. So the foundation for this guy is going to be something that kind of comes in like this. You have to figure out exactly how to decorate it and everything. Um, but so that is actually the foundation and the floor at the same time. Uh, so I'll put that in there. And we're going to knock that block out, and we're going to replace that, put some wall in here, 3 and 4. And we're actually going to bring this up. So this is the next level. So, this is really starting to get into like fantasy design kind of stuff. But if I throw a quick roof on this, and then we're going to step back and take a look at it. Now, again, white models are very boring. They're intended to be boring because they're there to solve problems and look at. How did I do this? Oh, yeah. And then we'll just throw an extra block on each side to make it look a little bit better. There we go. So now we have our tower on the side of a building. It is possible, but I'm not sure how to do Red Bull's car. You have too much time on your hands. uh, yeah, everybody wants to hear the screeches of horror. But so, guys, what do you think about this rough draft of a house that we've created? Um, I think personally, once we start putting blocks in and um, start getting some palette into it to make it look interesting, this house could actually be a wonderful thing. What do you guys think? I mean, I don't know how to build it. I don't think that they could stop us from building it in Minecraft. Yeah, exactly, Bolt. Everybody quits. But so Nikki has an idea, and there is a benefit to this way of building. Is So Nikki's idea is to build something that consists. Now you can change the sizes, Nikki. Um, but I'm going to show how this can work. So, if you do your standard, whoops, box, which is, this, it's 5 by 7. You can use all kinds of like terracotta and concrete, sand, red sand, sandstone, all the sandstone variants. So Nikki's house right now, um, her her build is kind of like this. It doesn't have the extra layer of walls around that I'm going to add. But because you're going for something that's more like a desert build style, you raise this wall up so you still get this cuboid shape, this rectangular box. Because you're using um, the same basic shape, and these could be bottom slabs. So like you take your slab and you look towards the bottom of the block, and it could be trap doors, um, things like that. What's great about this, and we'll actually talk about this design more in game, because you can build this idea up on top of, going up on a hill. But here's the cool thing with this is we're going to take this same shape and we're going to come over here for 5. I think that was right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 6, 7, 3, 4, 5. So now we can attach another building to this and do the same thing, bring this up. So Nikki's house has like a door right here. And we'll put same kind of roof on this one. It'll be a flat roof because we're going with like that desert style. And then you could take like maybe some sandstone walls here, and let's come and some cut sandstone to make this look like it's supported. I think you were right the first time. I think that Nikki not being enough for everyone should get her kicked out. You know, you could go in and put out like a porch here. Um, and then maybe have a little staircase that comes up here with a little platform. Let's maybe make this 3 wide so, you know, it's not. Throw some stairs in. You know, you could do something like this. Actually, we could even. Uh, actually, yeah, this is a good idea. Let's take some acacia trapdoors here, and we're gonna. Now you've got a railing going. Yeah, so Nikki doesn't fall off. But you know, this is a no, Nikki. You're supposed to take care of my free money. Remember? Um, but you know, we can do stuff like this. Like there's we got this nice little railing going here, and um, we could even like on the stairs. Instead of breaking that bottom one, we just open both of them. But see, now Nikki can start creating things like this. She could put a 2 wide stairway in here and actually bring it right up into the structure if she wanted to. Um, yeah, you could use fences on the stairs. If I reduce this down like here, um, I could take maybe some stairs here or some fences here and, you know, do this number, or maybe we take this block and we just bring it out one more and use fences. Like there's a lot of ways to do this kind of thing. Um, and really it comes down to Nikki. Count, that's not what this stream is about. Not at all. Yeah, but there's cost to even that count. Um, you can also do, you know, other things like, you know, stuff like this, whatnot. Like there's a ton of ways to do railings and such, but the idea is that she can literally build all of these different structures. No, Scaper, this is not speed running the building of houses. This is all about white modeling and trying to figure out how you want to build your house so it looks the best. That's really what this stream is all about. Now, having done this, I'm actually going to save and quit. I'm going to go in single player, and I have the Clan Crafter seed here. And as you can see here, you know, this is actually the area where we've got all of our farms right here. I've built a house over here, but we're going to, I'm going to remove all of this stuff. I'm gonna grab my different concretes, my white, my light gray, my green, and my brown. I'm not gonna worry about the inside walls right now, but we're going to pick a difficult spot to work with. And actually, uh, I think right here is actually a good spot. So I've turned off the time on this server, so I actually have to break all the leaves, which kind of sucks, but we're gonna clear out these trees here and figure out how we're going to build our house. Now, there's a couple of ways that we can really go about this. We could flatten the area all the way down to the river there, make it big enough, all the way down to the river, make it big enough for whatever we want to build, and just have a nice flat area to build on. But the problem with that is, while it does give materials, it kind of makes the area look ugly. And unless you're like tremendously good at landscaping, which I'm okay, I'm not the greatest. I still have a lot of room for improvement in that area. Um, it's going to make things difficult. Fleur, you need to keep that stroking off of stream. You know, that's something you do in private. We're gonna just take out a couple more trees here, and then I'm gonna show you another way. You could build the base as, just floating in the air. But let's see here. So we've got this area. Now, this top layer, we're just going to clear it out because we do want a little bit more space. But we're going to look at what is the primary section of our house. So the very primary section of our house is shaped like this. It's a 7x9. And it's really the base function of our house. Now, we could do a lot of things here, but one of the things that's nice when you are building like this is to go in and start looking around for, the dirt underneath. Remove that, start filling in air gaps, and making the house look like it belongs where we are placing it. So, we could leave this, but then it looks like I did say that is an option, Scaper, but what we want to do is kind of incorporate this into the hill that we're already on. So our floor can go at any level here. Like, we could put our floor here, or we could put our floor here, which is what I'm going to do. I'm going to just go ahead and put our floor right here. Happy little floors, as Bob Ross might say. So we've got the starting structure for our house. Now, because we use white models and we've got ideas about shapes that we can use, we can start looking at our landscape here and making decisions about where we're going to place things. Like, for example, I think let's put our little tower right here. This seems like a good place. It seems like it would fit. This is actually going to end up being our floor for this level. And we can work out details about how we connect and stuff like that all later. But let's just put our floor in here. And then we're going to build this down just like we did with our house to make it look like it fits in. This is not right. That should not be 4. That should be like that. So what we could do here, we could do a number of different things, but for the sake of the building that we're doing, I'm just going to knock that out, and we're going to fill in here. And so now this looks like, it's starting to look like a structure that actually belongs on this hill. So Nikki, is this something that you were asking about? Like, how could we incorporate a structure into an existing landscape? Okay, tree houses are entirely a different stream that we would have to get into, because that gets into some really difficult things. Count you can with compressed ice, blue ice, and I believe snow layers will also work in the nether. You could build an acacia tree building, yes. But here's the thing. Really, no matter what you're building, if you start with a white model of the structure, you can get a really good idea of how it's going to fit and be able to work with what you want to build. Um, there are so many things you can do with a white model. But yes, doing tree houses, um, well, not exactly. And I'll show you why. Let's go back to our, not here. Let's go back to our design world. So I'm going to grab, if you're going to do a tree house, spruce, jungle, and dark oak are usually a good start, but I typically go for jungle just because it's going to be the easiest. Yes. Well, we'll explain white model for tree houses. Um, let's get some bone meal because the tree won't grow on its own. So you could literally do a tree house out of something like a jungle tree. But what you're going to want is to make your tree, first of all, with a tree house, typically you're going to have more than one tree involved because you're going to want to do some fun stuff with it. And this one won't grow because of that one. Let's try this again over here. No, it's not going to grow. Let's try a little bit further away. There we go. So you can get great big jungle trees, and you may have to work at it a little bit. But what you can do is you can take your blocks, like floor blocks, and start getting an idea of where you might want, maybe say, a platform. Now, what this is not going to do for you is it's not going to give you what your structure underneath is. This is stuff that you would probably want to look at. later. But what you can do is, say you have a platform here, and then you want to come across to this other tree over here. And then you could take, let's say, your brown. Let's go. You're gonna have a bridge, maybe a couple of block, 2, 3 blocks wide or something that comes across here, um, and do something like this, and then maybe you have another platform that goes over here, like so, and maybe you put some stairs going up or something like that. And then the reason why I grabbed these grass blocks is because you could take out part of your platform, put these down, put some bone meal in, or put your saplings in, and potentially grow another tree. But there are some rules to how these will grow, and it's not always easiest to do. You can also, if you come up all the way to the top of your tree, find out where the center of it is and place your blocks here. And make some really crazy tall trees. Um, this requires more work and decoration to continue going up. Yes, Count, you could do that. That is a pain in the backside. Um, but so this is the thing: is you can literally use the same thing, building circles and rectangles or squares as platforms around a tree. The thing that becomes difficult is working on how your bridges look and doing railings and things like that, because bridges can be very, very difficult. Um, and supporting structures for underneath, because you don't want just a floating platform like this. You can use, for example, let's say in this case, I'm going to use jungle wood. One example of some structure that you could do is you could take a series of like fences and fence gates, and kind of like, you could either step it down or you could make a support that just goes across like this. Um, but like I said, with this small, it becomes a little difficult to do this properly. Let's see. If I went like this and knock that out, then you do something like this, but then it's not connected, and yeah, it's kind of a pain in the backside. You could do just fences that are something like this so that it steps up. Um, it does give you some structure, but then you probably want to do something like this to make it look a little bit better. Throw some trapdoors on, gives it a little extra layer of structure. You could even use slabs there if you wanted. Like, there's a lot you could do with a treehouse, but tree houses, in my opinion, require the most planning and are probably some of the hardest to do, especially for somebody starting out. I think Nikki's idea of building a like desert kind of village or city is actually one of the easier ones to do starting out. It may seem difficult. It does take a little planning, but with some of these techniques, I think um, it could be easier. And Count, on the Clancrafter server, you don't even have to worry about that. Um, in fact, I'll even show you. I can literally just like walk up to the tree and set it on fire, and it'll just sit there. It won't spread. It won't do anything. Yeah, that is a danger of building a tree house. Actually, Nikki, you could put fire anytime you want. The fires won't spread. It won't burn anything down, so you don't have to worry about any of that. I didn't want um, I didn't want people to worry about that because it can really get nasty. Like I have seen people burn down whole jungles, literally burn down whole jungles, and it causes massive lag when something like that happens. So yeah, we're definitely not going to deal with that. Yeah, Count had that happen on a server that he was on. It wasn't, or maybe it was in single player. I don't know, but it definitely wasn't on our server. So yes, tree houses can be built. You can stack trees on top of trees. That is a possibility. Um, you can use white modeling to figure out bridges and platforms and things. But I always recommend using 2x2 trees just because they tend to be taller. I probably wouldn't use dark oak that much unless you're going to be doing a sophisticated, like dark oak stacked tree kind of build. But you also have to be careful with how you get the trees where they are. For example, if I really wanted to do this and I brought this out, like say over here, I might be able to make this work here. Oh, let's grab my jungle saplings back. Uh, let's see if this will work here because it does have, it should have enough sky access. Yeah. So you can do stuff like this, but then you're going to want to go in, and take all this stuff out and then find a way to, like connect this up. So maybe you take out some of these blocks here and, this one. So, then you've got to really kind of decorate this up in such a way that it looks like it's supposed to be like that, which can also be very hard to do. Dark oak would look good with all the foliage. I like jungle because you get all of those vines kind of coming down. If you take string, now this is oops, this is a pain in the butt to do on a jungle tree, but if you come under and you place string underneath the vines, it'll actually prevent them from growing. So those two vines will never go any lower. So for a decorative build where you're going to be working on something like this, you can very honestly work on a way to prevent those vines from growing. And you can use different wood textures. For jungle, I would probably kind of stick with jungle wood, maybe some oak, and maybe some acacia, because those kind of have a little bit of reddish color in them. Or spruce might also look good in place of oak. But I probably would avoid dark oak because it gets a little too dark. But that's just me. I mean, you guys can experiment around with colors and setting up palettes of what you would like to do. Um, yeah, you could use dark oak and blocks of coal. In fact, I let me grab my general palette here. So I have a general starter palette that I like to use a lot, and this palette is generally um, this pallet is easy to gather. Which makes it very nice for building things. It's easy to gather. Um, and actually, I need to expand this just a little bit here. Now, when I do this block palette, that I pretty much always do, um, it's important to note that the blocks that that I typically use, um, like if you know where a swamp is, you can get vines and you can make mossy cobblestone. You can turn stone bricks into slabs and make chiseled stone bricks. You can put stone bricks in a smelter and make cracked. Um, you can make you can make cobblestone into mossy cobblestone. You can make cobblestone into stone. You can make stone into stone bricks. Um, so all of these stones are pretty easy to get right off the bat. Um, some of the other things that are pretty easy to get a hold of right off the bat, and I'm going to stack these because there's something important. But if you're doing just some basic pathways, gravel, dirt, and coarse dirt. You got 3 blocks right there that are easy to get. Grass can grow onto dirt, and you can use a shovel to make path blocks. I'm going to grab a shovel here. You can also make farmland with a hoe. So there are ways to, and actually, if I grab some seeds, you can make that farmland stay. So there are ways that you can decorate with literally just 2 blocks, because you take 2 dirt and 2 gravel, and you can make coarse dirt. Um, so this is a really good start. We also want I'm going to only pick one color of as a sample. So you got wool, you've got concrete, and I'm going to include concrete powder because it is a different texture. You get concrete powder wet, turns it into concrete. Uh, Now, I typically just grab simple terracotta for this, but I'm going to continue expanding my block palette here. So we're going to do, this is concrete and concrete here, white concrete here. This is wool. This is just plain terracotta, but we could grab white terracotta. But we also have sand and sandstone, chiseled sandstone, cut sandstone, which I'm just going to stack this up because you can see that. And then there's, the red variant. There is also the smooth variants of sandstone, um, which I forgot to grab those. That's sand. Where's this? That smooth sandstone and smooth red sandstone. So you can see, by the way, if you don't know, you can find this um, red sandstone in mesas. That's pretty much where you find that. So you can see you have a lot of blocks. Yes, you have creeper face. You also have wither sandstone. But I'm going to continue with my palette selection here because there's some other blocks that we can use as well. And these are, again, pretty easy to gather. Obsidian, nether bricks, which you can also have the variants of cracked nether bricks and chiseled nether bricks. If you are able to get a hold of nether wart, you can also get the red variants, but that's a little harder to get early on in the game. it can be fairly easy to get soul soil and soul sand. And so now you end up with a pretty good palette here. But let's see, am I missing anything? Oh yeah, you've got blocks of quartz, quartz bricks, quartz pillars, chiseled quartz blocks, and smooth quartz as well. So now you've got a lot of variety available in blocks that you can choose. And just in this section right here, you've got 16 of each color with the exception of terracotta, because this is plain terracotta. You've got a total of 17 colors. Um, you got wither skeleton there, and then we didn't even get into the new color, blackstone. Now I'm not going to go into blackstone too much because it's a little harder to get, but you could use blackstone potentially as well as uh, the crimson and nylium stems and blocks are available. Planks of all of the wood types are available, which is the other thing. You've got I tend to generally start any world out with 3 wood types. Why? Because they're generally the easiest to get: oak, spruce, and birch. Not to mention the oak, spruce, and birch planks. Sometimes finding dark oak is very easy. Sometimes finding acacia is very easy. I generally have a hard time finding jungle unless I know exactly where it is. But this is a general block palette to start everything out. And when you go with, well, I'm going to do terracotta. We're talking 16 colors here to mess with. Like there are a lot of possibilities with color, and that's not even counting glazed terracotta. Glazed terracotta you just smelt in a furnace, but I'm just gonna lay out some oops colors so you guys can see. Like terracotta is probably one of the worst color choices in some cases, and the best color choices in others. Um, for example, green, brown, black. Uh, those are some of the, in my opinion, some of the best colors. Oops. Oh yeah, this is the plain terracotta here. So you can see there's a lot of colors here. Yeah, and Scapper, that's the challenge is once you find a jungle, you're pretty much set. But until you find one, they can be very, very difficult to find. Yeah, so Nikki, terracotta is good, but so is concrete and concrete powder. And I'm going to show you why these can be very good. These are more vibrant versions. They also have a smoother texture. But there's one fewer color. Did I did I miss a color somewhere? I don't think I did. But we'll find out now, won't we? Oh, the colors are in different order. That was blue. Brown, green. So we got white, white, orange, orange. Yeah, so this is right. Um, what? Oh, I made a mistake. Okay, I see. I'm gonna fix that mistake right now. So we don't need that. So we're gonna. So we properly reflect the colors here. So you can see black, the two blacks here. This one is brown. It's got some texture to it, whereas this black has very little texture to it. I mean, it does still have a little bit of texture, but it's harder to see that texture. So it's really nice. Almost a smooth, similar to what concrete would look like in real life if it was dyed. Um, so this is nice because it can give you some additional color and texture. And when you do the concrete powder, you can see a noticeable difference, and it can add even more texture to what you're doing. You use the whites here with um, the quartz, the nether quartz blocks that you have over there. You can do some pretty nice stuff. But really, a starting out palette of something like this, you've got the wool options. You can see right here. I think all of this gives a really good way to, just with these blocks. I'm not even counting all of the variants because, there are a lot of variants. But if you just pick these kind of blocks starting out and you figure out stuff to build with these, using the white models as a basic template for getting started, you can create some really impressive stuff. But this is really just about planning. The more you plan your builds, the easier it's going to be to know what you need to gather. Because I can go step by step and say, I'm going to need, you know, X number of my gray blocks, whatever I choose my palette to be, to do the foundations. And I can even get like super fancy with this, and like sometimes I'll come up on the foundation, sometimes I'll go down on the wall to make it look like, um, maybe we do something like this with our foundation and make it look like it's got variation and level and texture. And you never know, maybe we bring some of the wall down a little bit over here, and that was the wrong block to use for that. But we make it look a little more beat up and things like that. Well, see, here's the thing. Um, Depending on what kind of server you're on, if you're on a regular vanilla server that has no protections whatsoever, I would recommend, you be very, very careful about your builds, because there are people on those servers that would literally walk up and literally destroy your house no matter what it looks like. So those kind of situations, or even like faction servers, or anywhere where PvP is a major thing, and that really changes the game a lot in how you play. But if you're doing something on a survival world where you're working together with people and there's protections in place, like maybe land claim, or on a private server like Clancrafters, where we're all friends and we all, pretty much work together to have fun. Um, then you, uh, then you can build nicer things. If I were to go onto a server and I'm looking to raid, I'm looking for the nicest, biggest builds I can that have, you know, have lost their land claim so I can get all the really good stuff. Yes, that sounds like Count. Count's not off for the day, he's off for the rest of his life because he's done. Like we could PvP on Clan Crafters if we wanted to, and we've done a little bit of playful taps back and forth. And player head drops uh, are a thing. So guys, do you have any questions for me? Anything that you might want to see? I am not a college professor. No. Did I talk too long? Is that what you're saying? I was boring. Scapper. So Scapper, I'm actually the videos will be available after the stream on Twitch, so you can go back um, and and watch the video and see some of the things that we talked about. I sound like a music technology professor. Interesting. Nikki, what would you like to see? Maybe we can work that out. Oh, that's super simple. So you want two towers, right? Well, we've already got one right here. Um, but let's do a bigger tower this time. Let's take the 7 tower, okay? So we're going to do our 7 tower. All right, now what we're going to do to attach this is